Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a sixth sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back. Just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try to catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, major look, huh? Yeah, this one is for the books. All these chances I took still. I move straight on these rooks now. Hold me up or hold me down, have my back or hold my crown. Either you with me or not, but you better give all you got, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back. Just wait and you'll see.
Thursday night, and where else would you rather be right now? And listen, don't answer that. John Perry, should we ask the people where they should be at on Thursday night instead of here?
I would advise anybody who's thinking of doing this not to.
All right, okay, I get it. Fine. All right. So listen, John Perry spoke. So yeah, you should be here. All right, you sad sacks of shit. Because listen, you've got problems. We've all got problems, but you've got problems with your grass, and we're here to help. Because tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is a live call-in show. That's right. You've got me. You've got Ray the Green Duck, and as a special guest tonight, because Matt is out with some unidentified sickness, we've got True Pro from the Greater Boston. Well, can you really say Greater Boston? It's more Greater Providence, right? It's not. Boston's a stretch.
I'm right in between. I'm on the other side of the line. I mean, I can see Providence.
Listen,
but if
here's what we can say.
The sun's right, I can see Boston.
Boston and Providence are making a lushy sandwich. And who wouldn't want to do that, right? To Eiffel Tower
Who wouldn't want to be that meat in the middle?
That's what I'm saying right there. A couple of pieces of white bread and you got lushy in the middle. That's a winner every day and twice on Sunday. Now, that being said, like I said, we've got some people that need help, gentlemen. Some people that are yearning. People that are looking at their lawns right now, their grass, whatever they take care of, and they're like, God, this is shitty. It's so bad right now. And they're talking to themselves like that. And even their wife and even their kids, that's one thing with my kids is, my son, if we go out and see a field or something like that that's rough, he'll be like, Dad, this field needs work. And I'd be like, yeah, okay, I get it. I got it, all right?
Oh, wow. Already a grass critic. Already a grass critic. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no.
So if that is you, if you're that person that's getting, nagged on by your old lady, if you're getting beat on by your kids about the grass, or you're just being really hard on yourself, call us tonight. Go ahead and throw that. There it is. Look at that. Live calls, taking your
best
calls.
Producer in the business. Cannot forget him.
That's 304-80 grass. 304-80 GR ass. Call us right now. Let's talk. We've also got some mailbags that we'll dive into here because we did not get to unpack all of those here in our most recent segment. But I will say, gentlemen, it is demonstrably gold bond weather here in Ohio right now. Tough time for cool season, great time for warm season. I don't know what it's like where y'all are at, but it is it's fungicide time, right? Well, there was a lot of SHDI fungicides going out here this past week. I can tell you that. A lot of phosphites.
Oh,
lot of
really?
Stuff.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
Was it just
stuff.
Was it just lexicon time? Was it that bad?
No, just exemplar this time. We didn't go full lexicon yet.
It didn't go full send. Okay.
Didn't go full send yet. Caller, you are live. To whom do we have the pleasure of speaking? Did they hang up on us?
Hey, one down, another one to go. Let's go.
Look at that. All right. Well, maybe I didn't answer correctly.
We solved their problem without even answering it.
They're like, yeah, these guys aren't going to help. I'm just going to go watch Lawn Care Nut. Fuck it.
Oh.
So
I have a customer who she's always watching them.
Oh boy. Well, hey, listen.
Hey, she's trying to educate herself.
That's good that she's educating herself. I would say this, and I'm not passing judgment. I'm not making fun of. I will just say this: that he's posted a lot of shirtless pics lately, and I could see how the ladies might want to watch some more of his content. I'm just saying.
There has been some posing in the lawn.
Caller, you are live. To whom do we have the pleasure of speaking?
This is the inorganic lone warrior.
Oh my God! This
is snap.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a listener of our podcast, our weekly podcast, Burn and Return, this is Joe of Joe Knows Turf fame. He is our sponsor of that segment. Gives us $0 every year and all of his heart to sponsor that segment, and we're so gracious for it. Joe, how can we help you this evening?
Well, I'm having a little trouble in the grass.
Yep. Hey,
yes, he is.
We're all, what's going on here? I've seen some pictures. if it's okay to, I will share these out.
Yeah,
really
no,
quickly.
you can share you are more than welcome to share the pictures.
All right, I will send this.
Yeah,
to Dave Hanks so he can throw this
I
out.
should have listened to everybody, and I'm a hardhead, so I didn't.
Don't listen to everybody, Joe. There's a lot of people that don't like you, and don't listen to everybody, please.
You got a white.
We love you.
You would have had better advice on the boat.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, he would have told me just to throw down flagship.
No, that's just some inside baseball. We know what would have been laying on the boat, but
all right. So there's a couple pictures. Okay. So I think there's a couple of different things going on here. Yeah, you definitely got some bad jujus there.
That's not even the beginning. That's the middle.
Let's talk about what kind of conditions you had at the onset of these lesions and these signs showing up out there in your lawn. Weather conditions, all that kind of stuff.
So I mean, it's hard to believe, but from what I've talked to people, where apparently we've seen more rainfall than we've had in recent years in the month of May, and I always do this every year. I think I just tend to overwater, and we're seeing like a mixture of temps. Like it's been hot, it's been cool, it's not been a consistent heat yet. And then just this past week, I leave in the morning every day to go to work, and today I really noticed it in the lawn today, and I don't know. I mean, like I said, we've seen more rainfall than we normally have, and I'm the kind of person, I think I overwater because I feel like when we do get rains, it's not enough rain. Like I do have a rain gauge and I keep track, but I don't know. I think I just need to change that mindset of watering and just water when the lawn really needs it, and not just keep my schedule that I usually only water 3 days a week. It's not like I'm watering every day, and it's usually like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing in the early morning. It's usually done by sunrise, and I don't know. I'm just worried because I just don't want to. I don't want what happened to me last year. So I'm hoping if I can get
what happened last year,
my stuff.
Oh, send the pictures if you may.
I think I sent. I think I sent Lushy the pictures from what happened last year.
You did.
Oh,
and it's the weirdest thing because it's right around the same time as last year when the lawn kind of like was spotted in certain areas, and there was either some kind of fungus or some kind of either something in the lawn that kind of just took it apart. But yeah, so I'm just like hoping that I can get some kind of fungicide down soon enough where I can control it. Because obviously the granular fungicide didn't really do shit. So.
we knew that was going to happen. We knew that was going to happen. All right.
Yeah.
So I think
Ryan, I just sent it to you.
Oh boy. So let's kind of go short term to long term here. Oh yeah. You definitely got smoke there. We'll throw this up. I mean, listen, if you can't show the bad, then you should be.
Yeah, you got to show the bad. It happens.
My channel.
I told you, Joey. Live and learn.
The bad and ugly. Yeah.
All right. So first thing is what fungicides do you have on hand right now?
The only thing I have is the Heritage granular. I just put an order in today for Voxy and Propiconazole. I can't say the word.
Propiconazole.
Yeah.
We know what you mean. Just say prop.
Hopefully that prop. So hopefully that comes in time before this gets way out of whack.
I'd like to just alert you to the fact that if you do want to buy some of this on my affiliate links, go ahead and click on the links in the description below. Basically the same thing. If you've never applied ointment to grass, I think you should try. Ray, don't
get the Q-tip.
Don't jar test this and don't apply it through the Trident. It won't work. I can tell you that for a fact. All right. Now back to, so we've got Heritage coming, or excuse me, Azoxy
No,
coming.
I already. Both Azoxy and Prep are coming. Yeah.
Okay, so Azoxy and Prep are coming. Okay, so if that's the case, a couple of things here. So I would be very wary of throwing down a bunch of propiconazole. Let's check your weather just in general here. Philadelphia weather. I know you're not in Philadelphia. Don't.
No, he's
15 minutes away.
He's got high 80s and 90s coming.
Ooh, yeah. Monday, Tuesday gonna be nice. Not gonna be too bad. I would skate through the weekend. It's and probably just let things dry out a little bit. Looks like you might have some rain Monday, some cooler temperatures Tuesday. So I wouldn't be remiss to throw down a rate of is that the 2SC formulation on the Azoxy, I assume?
I believe it is what he ordered. Yeah. He sent me the screenshot of it.
Yeah, so go ahead with that, which should be 0.77 fluid ounces per 1,000. And then go ahead and follow
the high rate
in the same tank with just one fluid ounce of the propiconazole. I think that will be a-okay with what you have coming up, as long as you apply it Tuesday or maybe Wednesday.
Don't do the high rate of 2 then.
No, you don't need to do that. You don't.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
Do that. Okay. So again, just go ahead.
And then so mix the two together, spray it out, and then 14 days later, throw more down, or just what would be the next step after that?
Okay, so the next step after that. It's a great fucking question. God, you're so good. You're just leading me right into this. Okay, let's talk about the water. Okay, and right now what's going on there is you're doing this 3 days a week. I assume that you are doing this all manually. You don't have an in-ground system. Is that accurate?
No, I have an in-ground system.
Ooh, look at this guy right here. Press of a button. Okay. So if that's...
Oh, we just lost a May.
Yeah, I think his internet connection cut him off. But, okay, in cases where you have disease, my usual advice to people is actually, rather than water on a fixed schedule, start to really look at and think about, is it dry?
Yeah.
If it is dry, send the water. But then if it's still wet, I would be in favor of holding that water for a day, watching it over a day, and seeing if you still need that water the next day. Because here's what I've become aware of. I've become aware of a condition where, yes, it is stupidly hot, right? It's stupidly hot. However, you also have humidity. And when you have the humidity, your water does not dry out. You don't have the drying. So you've got to kind of really start to think hard and be more observant rather than just thinking more water, because I find myself, when I am in a condition of high humidity, I'm looking at less water, and the way I figure my water is in terms of inches per week. And with what I'm doing, I normally have the grass on what's called a mild water deficit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm on a mild water deficit. I'm talking like, if I had to put an estimate on it, maybe like 75 to 80% of actual ET.
Now, let's not jump ahead here. So, ET, besides the critically acclaimed Steven Spielberg film, does that term mean anything else to you?
That also means...
Slushy, you son of a bitch. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah. ET.
Right?
Yeah. ET means evapotranspiration rate.
I'm gonna go here, and where the hell? Okay, I think I'm
And
gonna send you this.
yeah,
Here.
but that's
Go ahead.
also my favorite movie from when I was a kid, as well.
It's a good, it's a fantastic movie. Sad, a little sad, but
It was a
you know,
little
Yeah.
sad, but I liked it.
But you had a
I
villain,
could
the man with the keys. He was a good villain, but he ended up being a good
Mhm.
guy.
Yeah, I think I would wonder what that would be an off the wall dark horse choice for a Matt movie night here. Which
Yeah, it
if you
would
don't
be.
know, what we're talking about, go ahead and head
Become a
over to
Patreon.
www.patreon.com/burn and return. There you get exclusive access to a lot of our extra content that you can't get, including the opportunity to watch movies with Matt. Which, if you don't know anything about Matt, one, because he's sick, or two, because you never watched this before, or three, because you also live under the rock that he does. Matt doesn't watch movies, and so we're trying to bring him back into. It's like taking an animal out of the zoo, Lushy, and putting it back into its natural habitat. That's where Matt should live, is at the movies. However, it's going to take a little bit of work. J Pink, will you click on that link real quick? Joe, we're going to have to wrap you up because we've got a bunch of other calls coming in, but I want to show you this real quick. This is digital.weather.gov. And in the second drop-down menu there on the top, not the national CONUS, but if you want to go down and slide all the way down to the bottom there, all the way down, go ahead and click for me, daily FRET. And if you can do it daily. And then when you go on the top drop-down box and click into, I think they have like Northeast, they have different areas of the country. So where was it? Nope, it's just going to be National CONUS. So a couple of things here, Joe, is if you look at this and read this map, I think there is a way to zoom in and get a little bit tighter. Yeah. Okay, so see these numbers here? We get over towards Philly, we're at like 0.18. So that means today, right, they have calculated that between the evaporative losses of the plant cooling itself, right, which is transpiration, right, so the plant uses water and it puts it out in the atmosphere, and then also what is coming out of the soil from all the factors related to sunlight energy, wind, relative humidity, temperature, right, all those things coming together to figure out that you lost 0.18 or 18 hundredths of an inch of water out of that system today. So if you wanted to replace all that, you would have to irrigate 0.18 inches tonight with your sprinklers. Now, what we know about turf and what we know about managing specific grasses, and more definitely the elite cultivars that we're used to, many of them operate just fine at about anywhere from 60 to 80% replacement value of that numbers, right? So I know you're a numbers guy, you're a spreadsheet guy. You can track this in a spreadsheet, and then you can go ahead and just say, hey, I'm going to make sure that if I go 3 or so days, I'm going to make sure that if I lost, let's just make it for math purposes, 0.2 inches each day for the last 3 days, well, that's 0.6 inches I lost. Well, if I'm going to irrigate back to 80% of that, that should give me 0.48 inches that I need to replace with to be at 80% of my evapotranspiration rate for that same period. So that's a way to look at it, because I know you're a numbers guy, and I wanted to break it down like that. So learn what your system's putting out, right? Measure that. Get that figured out.
Yeah.
Use this site. You can use it daily or weekly, right? You got a couple different choices there in the drop-down box. And then run the numbers, because I know that's your thing. Make a spreadsheet. Do it the way that you like to do it. And don't just throw her down, because I know that's not your style. All right?
Yeah.
Right.
Real quick, I know I don't want to hold up anyone,
I know.
but the application, right? So if I know you were saying it's going to be hot next week and everything, so not a good idea to throw it down or spray it when it's hot out. Look for cooler temps and then spray it out.
Yeah,
then,
I would go out
and then
Tuesday. Go ahead. Sorry.
So once I do spray it out, I want to wait 14 days for another reapplication of the same rate.
We're going to see what it looks like. So at 14 days, you still should be very clean. And remember, it's not going to cure what's out there. Grass has to grow out of it, number one. Number two is we're going to see what the weather's like. And if it's still hot and nasty, it might be time to rotate chemistries and things like that. So we'll see what you're dealing with. All right?
So Tuesday, once I hopefully get it by then, spray it out and see where we're at in 14 days.
That's right. We will see you next Tuesday.
Pray for another call-in show.
Yeah, I'll call you. I'll call you guys again.
All right. Love you, Joe.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Look at that, Joe. Joe's
Knows
got many
more turf
names.
now.
Joe just read a whole book on turf, and it was on tape, and we were reading it and narrating it. We should do that. We should have a whole series dedicated to Matt, Ray, and I taking turns reading chapters of various turf textbooks and putting that on our Patreon. I think that would go over exceedingly well. I have a very strong opinion on that. So, I mean, Ray reading the Dr. James Beard turf textbook.
Oh yes,
Magical. Yeah, magical.
magic.
All right, I am going to jump into the mailbag if we don't have anybody calling in, and let's see. Of course, I've been logged out of my Notion, so I got to log back in here. Ray, you didn't tell us what the weather's like in Hawaii. Is everybody happy and healthy out there?
Well, I don't know so much about the happy and healthy, but I do know that it's in the high 80s, humidity and temperature, and the sun's kind of out.
Hmm. All right, I'm
Gold
going
bond
to
weather.
read- definitely gold bond weather. All right, so I'm going to read this one from. This is from our friend Smart Parts. He says, "Good morning. It's 9:36 at night. Smart Parts, but yeah, good morning. A mutual friend of ours, LW50, if you're familiar with LW off the lawndiscord.com, one of our neighbors in Georgia there, recommended I reach out and explain to you my lawn situation I have going on, and trust me, as a DIYer, this is a cry for help now. It's getting serious. I've been battling what looks like disease and stunted growth, and I'm guessing due to the propiconazole 14.3% I put down. But my lawn used to be thriving until this year. Its appearance has declined drastically. I've had a soil test done that seems okay, but I was told to leave it and don't apply any fert. Tried researching and YouTubing many things to see how I can get my lawn back to how it was. I've started to water it in the mornings as well, and we'll see if that will help. But I think I need help on this one. All right, so J Pinky's got some of those photos there. Yeah. This appears to be... What kind of grass are we working with here? He doesn't really say in his email. I'm assuming he's in Georgia as well. His pH would suggest that as well. So, Ray, it would seem, would be my guess, is that we probably have Zoysia Bermuda here that was hit with propiconazole. And we don't know what was going on before, but what do you reckon could be going on here?
Well, I would surmise at this point that this is your classic response of warm season grass to high rates of propiconazole. This is stereotypical and all the way down to you notice
Zoysia.
that color.
Emerald
Whoa,
Zoysia.
okay, and you guys notice overall the color. Notice that the color has this slight coppery or bronzy tint to it.
Yeah, I mean, anytime. Listen. I don't have a ton of experience applying DMI fungicides, and more specifically propiconazole to warm season turf. However, I am smart enough to know that you best be careful when you go do something like that. And when I say be careful, I mean like probably just don't do it. I wonder, Ray, help me out here. Help me learn a little bit here. Nice sweet caddy in the background there too in the carport.
Yes.
Is that an Eldorado or a CTS? What are we working with there? I don't know if we'll have to work on
That looks like a CTS.
Okay.
Ooh.
See.
Yeah.
Dual exhaust on that biatch. So, Ray, what would one be using, let's just say in the spring or early summer there, propiconazole on Emerald Zoysia for? Is there any particular reason there, or did Homeboy here just say, "Oh, something bad's happening. I'm going to spray a fungicide," and we just turn
Okay.
shit
is
into
FAFO.
watery diarrhea.
So it is possible that LW50's friend saw some dollar spot in his Emerald Zoysia. Or, however, here's the thing about dealing with dollar spot in Emerald Zoysia. A lot of times when I see dollar spot in Emerald Zoysia, that tells me not to go running for the fungicide. That tells me instead to boost up my nitrogen, potassium, and iron rate instead. I wouldn't go for fungicides, and if I do go for fungicides on Emerald Zoysia because I'm faced with dollar spot, my preferred fungicides include the SDHIs or curative rate 3336. But I wouldn't be considering propiconazole. I just wouldn't do it because I think the only time one wouldn't see bad effects from that is if it were used in the fall as part of a large patch prevention program. Other than that, it's a little bit brutal on Emerald Zoysia.
So yeah, there we have it. I mean, tough situation there for our friend Smart Parts. So I guess really, Ray, time, warm temps, sunny skies, about the only thing that's going to help right now. Don't want to.
and-
You're not going to fertilize your way out of this. And I think we have. Do we throw this? We did the soil test up here. Just throw that back up real quick, if you would, J Pink, just to make sure nothing's out of sorts here. Even though it is our favorite soil test, I say that I am being 110% facetious
and sarcastic and well, the you know what, the only thing that I'm looking at that I can garner that is of value is, okay, I pay most attention to the calcium and magnesium numbers because that is my only indication of whether somebody has an actual pH issue. Because when calcium and magnesium are sky high and above their supposed optimum range, that's when I suspect high pH. Conversely, when it is in the basement, Ryan, I then suspect that the person actually has a low pH or acidic soil condition, and low pH is actually very detrimental to zoysias in general. And in actual practice, what I would tell Smart Parts to do is I would suggest that he drop off another soil sample at UGA and have them run it instead.
Although
And
if you're
get better
listening
numbers.
and you don't know what UGA is, that's for the folks at home. That's Georgia. That's where you take it.
Georgia.
All right.
That's-
So, all right. Just reminding everybody, lines are open right there. You see it scrolling at the bottom of the scene, the screen. Excuse me. 304-80 grass, the 304-80-GR ass, or 304-804-7277. Call us now. Tell us how bad it is. Just spill your guts. We'll judge you as hard as we possibly can, and then
We're gonna call someone back that tried calling. So
we're gonna call somebody back.
Our first caller?
Just 911.
yes, 911.
Reverse dial.
Paul Smith.
Again?
He tried calling while we were diving into that last. Paul Smith, you're on boy.
Oh, you want to call me back now?
Yeah, this is Taco Tickler's Adult Bookshop, sir. We have your orders in, and we just wanted to let you know it's here, ready for pickup. You might want to bring a dolly though. There's quite a few items here.
Oh Lord. Tonight is not the night. How are you
We
guys
actually
doing?
have good. We have a liftgate service too. We'll bring it to your house, okay? So it's fine. We're doing
Mhm.
good. How are you? How are you?
I hope you don't mind the flashing lights on the truck.
Anything for you.
I had a whole comment about something like that. That's what got it in my brain. I'll say it in the after show later. But okay, Paul. Listen, I just want to dish on this guy for a second, real quick, because every like now and again, I just get like these beautiful photos of these awesome properties that he takes care of, or like his house, which is like just perfectly manicured at all times.
And then I shit
sometimes
on that Zoysia.
and then sometimes he'll just send me like some total like what the fuck is going on here photos like of just some, whether it's competitors or it's just some random stuff like, dude, what's this, why is this even like this? And I have to say, like, dude, why is this like that? Nobody knows. It's just the way that fate and large national landscape companies work, so you gotta be careful with it. But this guy is if you don't know, Paul Smith, he's in the Carolinas, right? And when I say in the Carolinas, I mean like he is all over the place in the Carolinas. Like he might be a nomad in those two states because he goes all over everywhere there. And he is also an award-winning applicator and businessman. So listen. So what are you seeing down there, man? I want to hear. I want to hear it because Paul Outlaw, he's been. I haven't heard from him lately. So what's going on in the Carolinas?
He's been busy. I talked to Paul.
He has been busy, and so have I. It's been hot. It's been dry. Unirrigated stuff is, especially on school season, is not looking so good. And even on the warm season,
a little struggling.
Yeah, but you guys got a soil test in on one of the shows the other night that came in. It was somewhere in the Piedmont. It was like what, 4.8?
Yeah, we were talking about that. I think it was
on
Sunday. I think it was Sunday night. I think we were talking
Burn
about
and return.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have that email, JPink? Can you pull it up?
It was question though, was that Bermuda or Zoysia? Or centipede, right? The email said Bermuda, but the soil test said centipede.
Yeah, and Ray wanted to put in a whole truckload of lime.
Yeah, he wanted to
till it in. That's right. He wanted to till it in.
Till it in.
Till it in.
Fill it in, and then get the big vibratory roller and compact it all in and smooth and grade it out, and just let it go.
Ray's signature bulldozer was replaced with a 100 horsepower tractor and a rotodarian. So
was it this? Yes, that.
Yeah, I think this is the one. Yes.
Philosophy.
So go up. Isn't the pH listed on here somewhere? Oh no, it's right now. I'm looking. This is right in my face.
Yes,
6.5.
it
There
is.
was another one though that was higher though, or excuse me, lower.
Mm-hmm.
There was one that was extremely low.
Yeah, this one is pretty good. But then we saw another one on the burn and return where that's when I said, "Oh Lord, whoever has this soil is looking at a bulldozer, a roller, and a top dresser filled with lime."
So, Paul, tell us what is unique about Piedmont soil and how do you deal with it?
The best we can, especially on new construction. Lime, and then that artisanal Zoysia picture I sent you that you don't need to share.
Artisanal.
I won't.
Yeah, we're gonna pull some cores there.
Oh, really?
And I haven't. Yeah, I haven't had a lot of time on that particular property. So less than 12 months. Cover a lot, but it's something we're going to look at. I mean, if you're not getting a color response from your fertilizer,
You need to be looking at pH.
Hey, Demay, this is so Lewis is in the chat right now
Oh, nice.
with the low pH
Yep.
here.
Oh, Luis Rodriguez. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
So a 4.8. So yeah, you're not going to get
So they,
any
yeah, they're gonna rent that easy.
end response. You just, I
No,
mean,
Yeah.
none. Zero.
and I think that what's probably tough in this situation is that you can't just stop applying it, though, right? Like you're not going to get color response and everything, but there is N that's going into the plant. You're just not seeing the full fruits of that labor and
Not
everything
seeing
like
it.
that. So
Yeah.
I think the thing here, I think from an applicator standpoint, if you're a pro, right, is and Lushy, you face this to a certain extent, I guess, is like on some of your lawns, especially new construction.
I get these. Yep.
So how do you set expectations with these people and be like, listen, this is not your everyday run of the mill driving Miss Daisy lawn. This is a little bit different. So I'm curious, Paul.
But like something like this, I would say would take it's going to be like a 2-year process just to get the pH in the right zone.
Yeah.
You know, even being
Paul.
like super aggressive at it. And then it's also what's their budget?
Mm-hmm. Well, so in Paul, you're
I
in a
mean-
little bit different situation because a lot of your stuff, you know, or some of your stuff, you're probably more commercial than what Lushy does. So how do you handle that
Oh yeah,
in
absolutely.
commercial setting?
In the commercial setting, you know, I don't deal with a ton of that, but
Uh-huh.
you know, privately, you don't apply it. You know, you skip that fertilizer and you apply lime. You make an application, but
Okay,
or you know,
Paul?
you sell it, or you
Paul?
sell it, you know, and just say,
Mhm.
hey, you're wasting your money in a private setting. You're wasting your money. You're not going to get where you want to be, and you know.
Well, that is just laying out the truth bombs, because when pH is that low and you start applying lime and getting that pH up, what people will often see visually is the rise in the pH and the elevated calcium levels is going to get them a color response, and that's going to be the color response that they've been after and they've probably been chasing for quite a while and not knowing why they weren't getting it, because you throw down nitrogen at a low pH soil and it can be what I call the mission to nowhere. But you do what some of the things that I do, where I have a liming procedure that jacks the pH up by half a point in 1 week. But
what?
It's a little bit strenuous.
Yeah, it's called 2 pallets per 1,000 and a rototiller.
No. And well, if I can't rototill, it's 10 pound per 1,000 hydrated lime. Hydrated lime is different.
Oh, no.
Hydrated lime. Yeah,
Assisted
hydrated
with
lime.
the fire department to water it in.
I was gonna say Ray actually hires the forest fire planes from California to go over and make that app for him. He subs that out.
Yeah, I just told them, okay, this is the lawn, gentlemen. Drop it right here, from
plus
about
or minus 100 meters.
Yeah, plus or minus 100 or so meters. Just drop it. This is the house.
Fire for effect,
No,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But budgetarily, I've had customers who can't afford the fertilizer and the extra lime that we would need to do. So what I've done is I've pulled out round 1. You pull out the fertilizer, but I'm still applying, because we do liquid on our pre-post emergent application. So we'll spread the lime and do pre and post. Round 2, they're getting fertilizer. Round 3, they're getting lime again. Round 4, we're back to fertilizer, and then we're looking to see where that falls. We might go back into another lime. It depends on how far off they are, or it just might be like it's not worth. Don't even do anything. Let's just lime. If this is where your budget's at this year, we're just going to lime and just do and not do anything and get this
pH correct.
fixed.
pH correct first,
Yep.
right? Mm-hmm. I
I
like that.
like that a whole lot. I'd much rather, do something that's going to make a difference as opposed to being wasteful.
Exactly, Paul. I mean, I think one of the things that I tell myself, and I actually end up telling people to their face, is I'm not here to do what you think you want. I'm here to do what's actually best for the grass.
Exactly.
Because,
Like it.
throwing down all of this fertilizer, nitrogen and phosphorus and whatever, and not getting the results out of it, it's just not it.
Hey, Ray, it's so cheap right now. It's so cheap. You should just put down extra. It's so cheap.
Oh, yeah. Sarcasm
It's
on,
free.
right, Paul? Sarcasm on, right, Paul? I mean, yeah, nitrogen is cheap right now, and so is phosphorus. So let's, if we don't get what we want out of it, let's just double the app rate. Got it. Got it.
Yeah, there's literally. I've not talked to anybody. I mean, anybody. Well, besides the stuff that we do, because we're crazy. But anybody that is applying the same rates that they were last year for an annual total. I can't, app to app, it might change or whatever, but there ain't nobody who was at, let's just say, 4.5 pounds that's still doing 4.5 pounds this year. Let's say that. And to be honest, especially what we know in a lot of these systems is that, yeah, you can't get by. Now, the further you go south and the more warm season you have, that could be sort of a slippery slope to get going on. But I think especially on cool season, there's a lot of credence that, going down a little bit, 10%, even 20%, you're not going to see much of a change in terms of overall conditions. So I think that will be something to bear out, and we'll see what happens.
There's a large applicator up here who's gone with the, I think he's going with 128-day poly coated, and that's what he's putting out. And then he's just got guys going out, and he's limiting. He's paid more for that product up front, but he's limiting how much he's making his actual fertilizer application. He's trying to save it that way.
Hey, we've got all kinds of ways to save money. I think at some point, though, right, it all comes back to overall health of the turf, right? It's not going to fight off everything. It's not going to do everything. But if you don't have healthy turf, it's going to make a lot of other things start to go downhill very quickly. So that's been my caution to folks is like, hey, you're still going to do your cultural practices. You're not going to lose that. Yeah, gas is a little bit more expensive. Maybe your margin's down a little bit, but stick with those. I think, and here's where I'm coming from. And Ray, maybe you experienced this on the lawn care side back in 08, 09 when we went through a pretty tough patch, right? In terms of customers and buying power and all that sort of thing. But in golf, right, like the first thing that the bean counters were saying was, oh, hey, you don't need to aerify. Like those tines are expensive and there's a lot of man hours and everything wrapped up in that. And, you got to fertilize more to recover from it. And like, you don't need to do that. And I'll tell you what, the people that did that got themselves in some real shit within 6 months, a year and a half. Got to be really bad off and in positions where it cost exponentially more to recover out of that because of those shortcuts that they took, right? Now, other folks are like, hey, you know what? I'll back down on the end. Maybe I'll try and stretch out, some fungicide windows and some intervals, right? Maybe accept a few more weeds out there in certain places and just, be a little bit more tolerant. And guess what? Those folks were just fine. And so I think that's the thing to think about here when we get into these cost-conscious times is what is okay to cut corners on and what is not. And fertility
What's
is certainly not one that it's certainly not one that you want to go like all the way in the basement, but it's definitely one that if you just
You can
scale
dial
back a
a
little bit,
touch.
it ain't gonna be that big of a deal.
You know,
Especially
And
in the middle of the summer where you can kind of maybe ride
yeah,
it out a little bit, and
yeah,
just maybe a
I
little
be a
mean,
little
micro
lean,
spray or something to. Yep.
be a little lean in the
keep
summertime.
color. Yeah, because I'm suspecting that all along we may have been just overfeeding grass. Period. We may have been just overfeeding it in a lot of cases, especially when we're talking about established residential lawns that have been there for a long time. It probably gets by on a lot less than what people give it.
Mm.
I suspect that it gets by because, for example, with what I do, as long as my pH is in the right range, it's amazing what I get from even 1/10 to 2/10 of a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square foot per month.
Or
It's amazing.
sometimes just good cultural practices, or in some cases less is more. If you just leave it
Yeah,
alone,
less is
in some cases,
yeah,
it's better.
yeah. Don't touch it. I mean, and Ryan always pounds on this too, in that the hardest thing to do in this business is nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, yeah, I often have this conversation with people where I tell them, I can do this, I can do that, I can do all of this work, apply all of this stuff, but let me ask you this. By doing this in terms of a short-term small gain in appearance, what kind of long-term problem am I going to create? And who is going to pay to fix that problem that I've just created? Who's going to pay for it? Are you going to pay for it? Because I know damned well that you're the very one where for whom money's tight. So I'm trying to be nice to you and not run up the bill too high and try to keep the bill down.
And I think that's something else too that when it comes to customers and things like that, right? Hell, well, I don't know. I can't say this for everybody, and it goes both ways, right? I was going to say, even your spouse, right? Like if you're, oh, all you do is spend money, or if you get a customer that says, oh, you're just trying to run up the bill, it's like, you know what? I would say, man, 85% of I want to say 85. I'll say 75% of lawn care applicators want to do as much as they need to do without doing more than they need to do. How's that? In an effort to not maximize, profits just for the sake of, hey, I threw down that Tenacity app because it made me feel good, put something out. Like there's nobody out there doing the feel good apps, right? When it comes to professional lawn care. I mean, there probably are. Like I said, there's probably people that do that, but for the most part, I think all of us want to manage it kind of like it's our own, right? Which is, hey, I'm only going to do what I need to do, and that's not because I'm trying to do the bare minimum. It's because that it's just like you said, Paul, that doing only what's needed is usually all that's needed, and it's the hardest thing to learn in this business, but you just got to do exactly what's needed, and when you start to do more than that or less than that, it's when it gets scary. And
and the other thing that I will say to any applicator that I'd like to just cut you off.
You're good.
Is anything worth doing is worth doing right, and if you're not going to do that, you shouldn't do it.
What's the old John Wooden, UCLA coach? What's his quote? If you don't have time to do it right the first time, how will you have time to do it over again?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to channel our Matt Martin, and what he would say to people that
won't do it right for whatever reason, what Matt has to say to them is, get the fuck out of my industry. Okay?
I agree.
Somewhere he just
that's
got
what Matt would have to
somewhere he just
say.
got so excited hearing that while watching us, he vomited. That's how excited he got right there.
I hope not, but
It was
But that
a joyful vomit.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
There are those. I don't think there's any of those.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
A man can dream.
But seriously, that is a good point in that why do it half-ass? And what I say is, okay, because I'm normally in what's called a remedial situation, right? I tell people, okay, the person that cut corners
That's my
didn't
class,
do you any
right?
favors. Yeah, that didn't do you any favors, because now, what are we doing? I'm redoing what was supposed to be done the first time, and you're paying for it one more time. I mean, so
Life.
no favors were done to you. I mean, should have been done right the first time, even though it took longer and might have cost more. It should have been done right the first time, so then that way it's not being redone twice, and somebody's got to pay for it twice.
Unfortunately, that's the way this all goes, right? That we never can
Mhm.
get we can never get ahead of this stuff because there's either there's too much to do, or we're trying to save money, this, that, and the other thing. So it's definitely an existential crisis this year, and one that I think we're all up against, and certainly you go back against consumer sentiment and what people think they're getting versus, or what they perceive that they're getting versus what they're actually getting. And just like we talked about at the top of this this little segment here, is that listen, the perception is, well, you're applying all this stuff to my lawn and nothing's happening. Well, ma'am, sir, I'm applying lime to your lawn so that everything in the system can actually work correctly. So yeah,
Right.
you might see minimal results, but it's going to take, like Leslie said or Paul said, a couple of years to even scratch the surface of making some type of a visual
that kind of
impact.
deficit.
Yep.
If you're in that
Absolutely.
4.8,
Yeah.
that's not a quick trip around the corner. You're going for a road trip. That's going to be a while.
Yeah, that's going to be a long ride, because the other side to that 10 pound per thousand app of hydrated lime, I'm probably spreading about 50 pounds of conventional lime soon thereafter.
Oh, I thought you
There you
watered
go.
in the conventional lime with the hydrated lime.
Actually, I separate it because hydrated is just so much. Okay, hydrated lime is so much. I mean, 10 pounds of hydrated lime, let's see, that's enough to peel the skin off of a couple of cows, for example. It's a lot.
And
So
really,
how
that-
big is the
that's-
warning
that's
sign
the-
for that? I mean, does the standard 3x5 cover that? I mean, are you okay when you apply something like that, or do you have to have like a 8.5 by 11 warning sign that says, skin will dissolve
Hey,
if
Leslie,
you walk on the lawn? Yes,
you
sir.
just come right down to the Tractor Supply in North Carolina, Leslie, and you can get it for like $3.83 in a bag.
Yep. But the thing is that is how you raise pH by a half a point in a couple of days. That's how you do it. That's what it
Goddamn.
takes, and then after that, of course, to maintain that pH correction and to
We
have it
rototill it
trend
in.
positively upward, then you can talk about conventional prilled lime at normal rates, 50 pounds per thousand.
Normal rates, he said. Normal rates.
Normal
All right,
rate.
Paul. Hey, Paul, we got to get you out of here. We
Thanks,
got
guys.
a couple people in line. Hey,
See ya.
thank you
Thanks,
thank
Paul.
you for calling, so we can call you back. Come pick up your items too. They're waiting here. Okay. But yeah.
All right. Well,
Even,
see ya.
oh wow, this one's extra saucy. Okay. All right. Bye.
Mm.
Look at that, Paul Smith, award-winning applicator. You're not going to find too many of those, and let alone people that will call degenerates like us and talk to us live on the phone on the YouTubes. All right, got time for just a few more callers. It's been flying by here. Uh-oh.
It
I can
has.
only imagine who this is going to be. Okay, turn down the radio. Turn down the radio, caller.
Nope.
Turn down the radio.
Hello.
Hello, hi. How are you?
Hi,
Hello.
thank you for calling Hot FM. You are the 98th caller. Can you
It's
say
true.
the phrase
Awesome.
that pays? No, I'm sorry, that's wrong.
Uh,
Goodbye.
I don't know. I don't know that phrase.
To whom do we have the pleasure of
So-
speaking?
My name is Luis Rodriguez. I'm the guy that sent in the full PH.
Oh.
By the way,
Oh.
we were able to establish this, Leshy, based on comments, statements that he made on the chat. That was actually a CTS-V Cadillac in the background there. So
Ah,
sweet ride.
yeah.
That's
Sweet ride.
that's not his car. That's someone else's
Whose car is it? Oh my
That's
God.
Brandon's car with the Emerald Zoysia.
Who is this
Mhm.
then? Oh, this is
This is
Louise.
4.8.
This is Lu-
Oh, that's
this is
4.8.
Luis,
4.8.
All right.
Peach.
This is Lewis
let's-
4.8.
Peach.
All right.
Yeah.
You
Still,
should
the
change your name to
Cadillac was
Lewis
important.
4.8.
All right, listen. What's going on with the 4.8? So, how does the grass look? Let's start there. How does the grass
And what
look?
type do we have?
So we have Bermuda grass, right? Common Bermuda. It was seeded
Okay.
last year,
Oh.
June
Oh,
6th.
Ouch. Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, budget and all that stuff. So seed was pretty much
It
the
is what
only
it
choice.
is.
I got different quotes for like $15,000 and all that kind of stuff for sod. So I had to go with seed and just water the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's new construction. 1 year, it's 1 year old. I just spent back in February when I bought it. Decided to take this challenge on. It had winter rye or ryegrass, what they call it, whatever the contractors spread out here, for the first part of spring. Died off, of course, of heat, and then in May, and then that's when the seed for the Bermuda went down. This is me brand new, not knowing about soil, pH, and all that kind of stuff. Went into the weeds of lawn care, and then that's when I saw you guys, and I've been listening to you guys' podcast for like the last year, and
Oh,
it's amazing.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate you guys doing all this for the community. Like I said, you guys are awesome, invaluable advice that people pay hundreds of dollars for. But either way, I digress. Yes, 4.8 full pH. I got the whole I have to apply line thing. My question is, am I wasting I just heard your story right now about fertilizers. Am I wasting my time and money fertilizing? It is getting a color response. Let me say that right now. And it is spreading, because at the beginning of the season there were bare spots. I could probably send some pictures if you guys want. But there were bare spots that are now filling in, and they look pretty good. I mean, I would say out of the 10,000 square feet, I have about a good 8,000 completely filled in and good to go. That looks pretty good. Of course, any iron product out there, I just have to mention the word iron, and the lawn greens up in 2 seconds, probably because of the low pH. But other than that, I've been applying equalizer 18-18-18 every 2 weeks at 0.1 N down.
Mhm.
And I also went to my local site one I just want to, I don't know, fire it up a little bit. So I went to my local site one and got a 50-pound bag of 19 and threw that down
Yes.
June 2nd. Yeah, June 2nd.
You're on the right track.
Yes. You're on the right track, because basically, looking at your soil test, you already know what I'm going to say about it.
your program is going to be lime and 111 for the foreseeable future. That's going to be your program. I mean, forget all of the fancy stuff. You may, if you want a little bit of extra temporary color, like if somebody's having a party at the house or something and you need the grass a little bit extra green, yeah, the iron is okay. However, I consider iron largely a temporary cosmetic. It washes off, so to speak,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
It washes off.
About
So
a week. Yeah, 1 week and it's
yeah,
gone. Less than a week
so
actually.
so if you want long-term green color, you're on the right track. Lime it, lime it, and lime it. I mean, that's all I can tell you because I have a picture of what your Bermuda grass looked like without the lime. I have an image in my head as to what it looked like, and it's not good at all.
I mean, I guess
I mean,
everybody's saying you.
I mean, I'm picturing.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
No, no, I am picturing thin, stunted yellow and purple Bermuda grass.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay, I'm picturing that, and the reason why I know that is because I've seen Bermuda growing under those conditions, and I've also seen it turn around and turn green when it is treated appropriately. And folks, spoiler alert, nitrogen alone does not help you when the grass is in this condition.
And here's my bigger picture take is this is number one, you're not wasting your time on the fertilizer because those basic building blocks have to be there, right? It's not like, hey, lime quote unquote unlocks all this stuff. It's not a miracle cure. It is simply correcting soil chemistry that needs to be corrected in order for other things to take place. So that's number one. Number two is kudos to you for seeking to understand, right, before doing, because I think that's obviously a lot of what takes place, right, is that people want those instant results. And yeah, the iron is great. The iron can do, great things for a very short period of time, but, to really understand what's going on and why, and then taking action on that, that's the kind of stuff we love to see, love to hear about, because, it will never end, right? You'll get this thing figured out, and then you'll be on to the next one or two or three things in order, right? And it's just how far you want to go and how far you want to push it. And sometimes it comes down to budget, sometimes it comes down to time, products, whatever that you want to, call into the equation. But the ability to see something, to figure out and decipher what's wrong, and then have
And
that's an important skill, and it's an important skill in life, but whatever. But in turf, especially, to work through the myriad of issues that we go through, really crucial. So kudos and hats off to you, Sarah. I think it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. I've dug into, like I said, I've dug more into the science aspect of it, of understanding why certain things happen, and what causes what is what I'm trying to get at, for my
Mhm.
at least kind of experiment here with my yard.
Mhm.
But yeah, I kind of love it. I do. I really do love learning and
You could tell.
seeing what
You can
works,
tell
what doesn't work.
you can hear it in your voice, and we're glad that you love it. It's exciting for us too.
hey,
Seriously.
I got a quick question to follow up for Lewis here. What would you recommend as far as like a fertility? Just a quick synopsis of the 111 and lime application as in a interval of like maybe do your fertilization, then followed 2 to 3 weeks later by a 5 to 10 pounds of lime, and then 2 to 3 weeks later followed by fertilization again, just to try to
I would
set him
break
up
it
in a
up like
quick
that.
season.
Yeah, I would break it up like that, and
The reason why I would break it up like that and not try to apply everything all at once all together is because two things happen. When nitrogen fertilizer comes in contact with lime that is not soil incorporated or watered in, what can happen is that lime will cause the nitrogen to evaporate from the fertilizer in the form of ammonia gas. So it's a good idea to separate it. And secondly, what can also happen is if you have phosphorus-based fertilizers and you apply them at the exact same time as lime, what also can happen is the lime will cause the phosphorus fertilizer to become non-available because that phosphorus fertilizer gets rapidly converted into what's called calcium phosphate, basic calcium phosphate. And basic calcium phosphate is not available to the plants at all. So the smart thing to do will literally be, and actually what I'd prefer to do is first thing in the year, put down the lime, get it worked into the soil with water, and then proceed with my fertility program and alternate every 3 weeks lime application, 3 weeks later fertilizer application, and then just keep on going back and forth between the two throughout the year. And then finally in the fall, instead of applying nitrogen because he has Bermuda grass and nitrogen is not beneficial to
go to
Bermuda
sleep.
grass in the fall, he would be better served to throw down like 50 pounds of lime at a time in the fall and let the winter rain put that in the soil for him over the winter.
There you go.
That's how I would do it. And then come springtime, well, you now have that 50 pounds of lime working through the winter, so then you can just start adding to it the next year and going back and forth between lime and fertilizers, and just wash, rinse, repeat. And then of course, after a year of doing this, good idea to test the soil again and see what effect this management program has had, because it may be possible for you to, in time, back off on the 111 fertilizer and start feeding mostly nitrogen and maybe potassium. It is possible to do that because you see, when you go on a really heavy phosphorus feeding program, you will build up soil reserves. You will build up some soil reserves. And once you build those up, your program gets a little bit easier because then you don't need to source phosphorus containing fertilizers, because it's not conventional typically to apply a lot of phosphorus to turf. That's not a conventional practice. So it is, however, conventional to apply a lot of nitrogen, but until you get your phosphorus levels up, until you get your pH up, until you get your potassium up even, your program is going to be a little bit unconventional, because basically lime and 111 is farmer stuff, not turf grass stuff.
And what I was always taught too was it's going to take a good 6 to 8 months for, if you're using a domolytic lime, to really see that stretch out. So if you wait,
Mhm.
If you do that fall application, you're going to see, you're going to see everything you did through the year, but then you're going to see a partial of what you put down. So you kind of want to start to then scale back if you get a real big bump, but you're so far down that you could do that right into the next year and keep on going. I don't think you're going to see that
Yeah,
become an issue on the
because
opposite side. You're gonna,
here's what.
when you start to get
Mhm.
closer to that 6 is when you're gonna want to slow down and start to watch.
because
Okay.
here's what I suspect. I think, Luis, you are literally going to need to apply a cumulative total of 150 pounds to 200 pounds of lime to this area before your pH comes up into a more reasonable range. And then once you have applied that 150 to 200 pounds, then you start to test more, watch more, and really become sensitive to how much you're applying, because it may get you to the point where you may only need to do 15 to 20 pounds one time a year in the fall as maintenance. Once you get it kind of up there, right? Once you get it up there, you're in maintenance.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah. Yeah. That was my kind of my plan. I was at 20 pounds though, like I told you guys last month, and putting down my next, well, now 50 pounds here this weekend coming up. Like,
So you're gonna do
Mhm.
you're gonna do a full 50 pounds per thousand.
yes, unless you
So you're gonna
say
now have 70
otherwise.
pounds per thousand for the season.
Say that again.
This will give you a 70 pounds per thousand for the season.
For the season, yes. Starting, yes, from May.
Should he break that out, Ray? Maybe do 25 this coming weekend, and then break that out a little bit,
I
just to
think
stretch
it
that through
might
the
be
season.
it might be a good idea, because my caveat to throwing down 50 pounds of lime at once is I can only see doing that if I have the facilities to then
Water.
flood the unholy heck out of that area after I've thrown down that much lime. I
Even
wouldn't
at
do
12 and
it
a half
if
pounds
that's
wouldn't be bad. That's a good because it's gonna it's probably
yeah.
getting dry where you are, just to slowly
Mm,
start to bring it up. And like Ray was saying,
yeah.
you do that 50 at the end of the year, so the winter rains and fall weather, will get that
Okay.
in.
But
Got it.
then
Okay.
when your water is more limited and it's hotter, it's not bad to be a little more restrained and break it up. There's no shame in putting down 10 to 12 and a half to 15 pounds at a time rather than sending the whole 50, because sending the whole 50 at once is only if you have the water or the weather to put that in the soil. But then if you're trying to do that in the summer, that may be a little harder as far as your water goes. And at that point, what my concern would be is if you throw down a massive amount of amount of lime, and you don't have the water to get it in the ground, that will then form a crust or a layer on top of the soil that is entirely lime. And that's not a good thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if I said it, but it's non-irrigated, real mode, with my GM 1600 at a bench height of
Ooh.
3/4.
Ooh,
Oh, okay.
spicy.
Okay.
Fancy.
All right. All right. So in that case, because you're dealing with shorter cut Bermuda, then what Lushy said about scaling that back to 12 and a half pounds per application during the growing season is an excellent idea, because what I know about shorter cut grasses is you really cannot do a lot of things on shorter cut Bermuda unless you have irrigation or water. And somebody just asked, how much water are we talking about for 50 pounds of lime? Remember what Ryan said about the fire hose? That much water.
Yeah.
Okay? Hook up the to the fire hydrant, unroll the 2-inch hose with the big nozzle on it, and stand there for the next 2 hours. That's how much water you need.
Okay.
Man, I'd have to get up at
That's how much.
2 o'clock in the morning to do that.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
Ryan would
yeah.
we talked about the hardest thing to do is to do nothing, and the second hardest thing to do is to be reserved with your applications and be patient. To I want to get it all down. I want to just take that dirt's been there a way longer than before you showed up and decided you want to start messing with it. You need
Yeah,
to slowly
definitely. Yeah.
change the profile of it and the makeup of it. Take your time and slowly go because you can ramp it up and cause way more problems.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's easy to go too hard, too fast, too much, and something's gonna break. Whereas what I always say to people,
God, is that
if
Sheila's
they're
bumper
wondering, is
sticker?
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, too hard and too fast. I mean, after all, Sheila
Something's gonna
knows
break.
me. Sheila knows me, so you go figure. You do the math. But seriously, what I tell people is, I ask them, okay, how long has it been like this before somebody has taken it upon themselves to try and fix this? Oh, decades. So another 6 months to a year ain't gonna hurt you. Okay, another 6 months to a year ain't gonna hurt you at that point.
I have about 1 more year, maybe 2, and then I gotta probably pick up and go. I'm in the army, so I'm only here temporarily.
Oh,
So I'll try to do my
ah,
best in the next 2 years.
Well, you can
okay.
On
pound
to
it
the
hard
next
this
one.
winter and put it away. Yep, and then you can fix the next one. You can slowly fix, properties all across the world.
I was gonna say. I mean, hey,
Hey,
listen. All I heard was pocketing a little bit of that PCS money next time, so you could dump it in the lawn, man. That's all I heard.
well, true story. Our producer fixed a lawn at the army housing here in Hawaii. Okay, our producer turned a lawn from a shit miss into an entirely St. Augustine lawn.
You want to
So
know something
I
funny,
did it.
Ray? I was just
Yeah.
listening to that podcast this morning. I shit you not.
Mm-hmm.
The same situation you're talking about right now. I think his name was Justin. If I'm not mistaken.
Justin,
That
yeah.
same
Yeah,
podcast, the same
that's
situation I was listening to this
yeah,
morning.
yeah. That was
That was awesome.
that's our producer's son-in-law, and the thing is that got turned from a shed fire into a beautiful St. Augustine lawn. Okay,
That's awesome.
and that was when Jay Pink and I started talking. When was that? Back in 2018, and he said, "Oh, help! How do I fix this? I'm from Iowa. I don't know anything about warm season grasses." And all I had to say was, "Okay, man, you're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn
Yeah,
today."
heard Jay Pink says I went in there, fucked this shit up, and I left. And then he went to go consult the Green
Yeah.
Doctor and figured it out. That was awesome.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So, any other questions?
No, this is more than enough. More than I don't want to tie up the line anymore. But this is, like I said, amazing. It's great information. I'm gonna run with it and just take off and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
I'll shoot you
See
guys
how
an
high
update.
you can take this, because I'm suspecting that because you've started liming, you're already going to see a response in the next couple of months.
Oh yeah. Just
You're going to see it.
yeah. I think I can kind of see a little bit, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's coming up.
All right.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That's all I had. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we can get
All
another
right.
caller at 304-804-7277. And anybody that's looking for a great resource also on pH and availabilities, Matt actually has an old video. I think, Ray, what's that, 4 years ago? I think if we dive into the archives.
I believe so. Yes.
Hello, caller.
Caller.
You are on the air. Hello.
All I heard was Ray just chuckling, so I know that I've got on.
Oh boy!
All right.
The real
Oh,
doctor's
man.
in the house, and the green doctor's in the house.
Oh shit, you knew it already.
Listen.
Are you still sucking in oxygen from the last time we hung out?
Yeah. Not enough though.
Next
Lushy,
time,
I've actually got a question for you. What did you
Oh, boy.
do? How did you do this? How did you honestly manipulate your way on here? We all know you're not smart enough to be here.
Oh, you know it. I know it. Everyone watching knows it. The list is long and distinguished, like the. Oh wait, I can't say that part. I've paid a few people off.
We don't
You
really
did.
have a deep bench.
Yeah, the bench is really
Oh,
short.
shit.
It really is.
You got
burn from
a
the
few
dark side.
connections.
Unless he can hold his own.
Yep.
He's
If we're talking
no,
pH, low
Lushy-
pH, we can.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
help.
No, Lushy can
No,
hang because Lushy can hang totally because Lushy's the one where he and I were discussing putting lime through a top dressing spreader.
Yes.
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah.
I still may rent that. I still may
Mhm.
need
Yeah.
that
Just buy it.
storage.
So, no.
That's the problem
I can
have
tell
right
that
now.
Leshy can take it. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys.
Oh, he can definitely take it. He's
I can
an
take it.
absolute. He's dished out a lot and taken that much and maybe some more.
Yeah, and all 9 inches.
So what do we got going on here tonight? Ear, nose, and turf. What's the sitch up there in northern New York?
Oh God, it's fucking awful, man.
Drought.
So I listened to a guy named Ryan DeMay, and he told me that sand was the best thing you can put on your lawn. And turns out there's a lot of problems that come up.
Like what?
You know, maybe you should think about whether or not you have irrigation first, or do
Oh,
any
yeah, I
sort
mean,
of
there's a whole
research
bunch
other
of-
than just listening to some guy on the internet. No, I think that it was a good decision for me to do it, but man, it is tough trying to keep turf alive. Now that it's dry, I wasn't expecting this because last year it was so wet. It was raining every 3 days, like half an inch, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put down a sand cap, and that'll solve everything. And if it had
However,
stayed
I'm gonna
that
stop
way
you.
this year, that would be fantastic. But it doesn't. Mother Nature does not do what you want it to do.
No,
And
and you might get it might be dry this year and next year, and then it might be wet the following year. You gotta kind of ride it out.
Okay.
You're probably
Here's my
similar to the same drought that I'm having.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
here's my thought on that now. If only I had a magic solution to instantaneously get rid of excess water, I would be a genius. Okay? Excess
So very
water.
right.
Of course.
That is my nightmare.
only.
Because conversely, if it's hot, it's dry, I don't
weird out about that as much because worst case scenario is I bust out the Pellet Pro and I'm wetting down a hot spot,
Yeah.
or I'm adding time to the irrigation system to, keep up with the ET. But
Yeah.
I don't have a good way to fix too much water. And oftentimes in lawns that have too much water,
Yeah.
I'm having a conversation with that homeowner about the 5 tons of sand that needs to come to their yard.
Yeah. So
I'm having that
that's
convo.
the thing, Ray. I'm so jealous of you. Like, how often do you actually deal with too little water?
All the time. All the
Wind is a
time.
big deal.
Really?
And
Yeah,
Like,
wind.
do you
Yeah,
actually
all the
get
time.
drought though? Like real without humidity, you get the dry. Like,
Okay, here's the thing is that what I call drought is when it has not rained in 2 or 3 months and it isn't about to rain anymore for the next at least 4 months. Okay?
yeah,
I tell people Hawaii is like Gilligan's Island. The tropic desert isle. It's just like Gilligan's Island because we can go months without rain. None. Okay?
Really?
No rain. And
really.
yeah, serious. Yeah, months without
I
rain.
just imagine
and
it
at
like the
that time-
Amazon, like it's just raining all the time.
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. I mean, the only time I may get excessive rain is between October, November through May.
So
But-
I actually have a question
I-
for Ray on this topic. Do you run into water bans, water restrictions?
Yes, I
Or how-
do. I do. However, most of my lawns weather that just fine. And they weather that just fine because, one, those lawns are all on an irrigation deficit already. And two, my watering program normally falls within the mandate that is normally set. And that is watering only every other day. That's fine and good for
So-
me because typically my lawns get watered Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday only.
So along those lines, I actually have a real question.
Mhm.
How long? And to be fair, last time we talked, we were all on our Friday night Zoom call, and to be fair, I had a few, and if we talked about this already, I apologize. But my question is, how long does it actually take to get a hydrophobic soil, right? Because so basically, when you put down soil, when you till something up, when you put down a sand cap, it's at its most aerated, right? How long does it take to go from the most aerated, perfect soil to being a hydrophobic soil?
Two different things here at play. So first we're talking about the physical properties of the soil, right? So a quote unquote perfect soil, right, is 50% mineral, right? So whether it's sand, silt, clay, right, or any combination of those, 25% air, 25% water, right? That's the perfect soil. So in reality, right, what ends up happening is that as we dry down, right, airspace goes away and we get smaller pores in that space, right? So we get what are called capillary pores, and that space right there is where compaction happens. And we can push more soil into a given area, basically increasing our bulk density, right? So the amount of soil that's in a given volume, right, and how much we can compress down in there. Okay, so
The more
what you're
micropores
asking-
there are than macropores.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct.
when that takes place, here's the thing: is with sand, it's very difficult to get that to a point unless you add in a bunch of organic material, right? That to which it
Right.
is difficult to work with. So I think when we talk about hydrophobic soils, the thing that happens there is that we have net positive charges, right, that repel water, right, and keep it, or excuse me, net negative charges that repel water, right, for various reasons. There's also organic acids, right, that can come into the soil and basically make that soil hydrophobic as
film.
well. And so, what's that?
Yeah,
Right, the waxy
Basically
cuticle that
basically
washes
kinda
down too.
wax,
kind of becomes a
waxy
film within
films.
the soil.
Yes, waxy
Correct.
films, and that hydrophobic condition, the way it typically happens, and what I typically see happening is, imagine a media with a particularly high organic matter content that has been allowed to dry down to a high degree, and then now
Right.
you need to get water back into it. And
Yeah.
that is when, again, I'm having to break out the pellet pro, and I'm having to drench in water and wetting agent, because water
Right.
by
So
itself.
Ray, like you've talked
Yes.
about in the past, right? Like you've grown grass on like that sandy white, perfect sand.
Mhm.
And how long, let's say you had just pure sand and you were growing
Mhm.
something on it, how long would
Mhm.
you expect it would take before you start to see beating at the surface, where you start to
Ye-
see a decrease in infiltration?
Okay, for me, never. And the reason why never is because
I'm Ray,
people,
goddammit!
people, when they have sand, can become their own worst enemy. And the way they become their own worst enemy is because they have sand, they then get a hair up their ass about how low the organic matter content is, and they then deliberately try to elevate that organic matter. Secondly, the other way to elevate your organic matter in sand very fast is to apply more nitrogen than the grass actually needs. That is how you create a lot of organic matter in sand. And even on the golf greens, I see this cycle, Ryan. Here's what the
Mhm.
golf guys do here. Twice a year, they make a big Buddhist ritual out of, we're going to aerate, verticut, and top dress with sand. And what the hell do they do after they've gone through all that?
Tell me, Ray. Fertilize it.
They come out with 1/2 to 3/4 of a
2 pounds per
pound of granulated nitrogen thrown down all at once after they've gone through all of that ass busting work.
It's what you got to do to heal it in, man, so the golfers don't bitch. I'm telling you, I lived it. I know what it's like. Hey, listen.
Yeah.
Don't shoot the messenger, but I've done that quite often.
Okay. But then,
So-
likewise, after I dirt a lawn, I often get questions about whether I'm going to fertilize that lawn after. And that's the point where I give that person that's asking me this, if only looks could kill. Because I know what happens. And you want to talk about creating excessive organic matter that will actually make it more likely that you will have a hydrophobic soil condition. The way you do it is too much fertilizer. That's how you do it. So if you're
So then, Ray, but how do you balance that with a soil that has such a low water holding capacity, right?
the
I mean,
way
are you
I
irrigating every single day?
Yes.
I can be. every single day I'm watering enough to keep moisture where the roots are, and likewise I'm also applying maybe no more than 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen per application. I'm applying very small amounts of nitrogen, and there's one more thing that I'm doing that is rather contrary to convention. I don't collect clippings. I don't collect clippings. I let the clippings cycle back in, and here's what happens when you do that. If you cycle your clippings back in and you're also not over fertilizing, what you'll often find is that that lawn or that turf area often reaches a balance between nutrients and organic matter. It reaches a balance. But that balance is very easily upset. I do get it.
Right.
But the
Yeah,
the
I mean,
whole point is
I wonder how much of that is due to, you know, the warm season turf honestly requiring less water and being more tolerant of that dry down, right? Because I mean, in my mind, it's just like what I'm seeing right now in the cool season side is that, my God, without that water holding capacity, you know, it goes from okay to completely dried down in less than 24 hours. You know, so
okay.
unless you're irrigating every single day, it's an insanity.
Okay, the thing that I can also tell you
Well, with
is
your
that
digital forecasts from the weather base, you know how much to actually water.
okay, the other thing that I'm going to say is that this whole water thing is very species dependent.
Right.
Okay, it's very species dependent. Even in the warm season grasses, where I know the grass species that get by on less. And do you know what the winner is as far as getting by on less? Bermuda. Bermuda gets by on less water overall.
Bermuda isn't going to live with
Versus,
Right.
yeah. However, conversely, one of the worst as far as not managing well when there's less water available, zoysia. But here's the surprise. The other grass that is very good at getting by on little water is St. Augustine. It can be good at that. But that is all out the window and blown out if that St. Augustine is over fertilized. And the other thing that I can tell you about drought tolerance and water needs is that the higher your nitrogen fertilization is, the more water the grass is going to need overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, the more you try to push it with nitrogen, you're basically directing the grass to consume and do more of everything. So somebody on YouTube wasn't wrong when he says nitrogen drives the bus. However, that same person needs to think now, hey, dumbass, if nitrogen drives the bus, then that means that with a lot of nitrogen, the grass is going to need a lot more of everything else.
More sales.
Right.
More mowing, more water, more fungicides maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, more of everything. So you got to think now. Nitrogen drives the bus. Yeah, nitrogen, because like one of my instructors at university told me that basically your fertilization rate
basically determines the pace and the cost of which your turf management program needs to go at. So the more fertilizer you put down, the more costly that turf area is going to be to maintain overall. More is not more. Okay.
No.
All right. So,
So,
Now,
I'm gonna,
what about
go ahead.
what about
Go ahead.
Izzy's? What about Izzy's question about adding something like a hydrogen style project, or a moisture
something
magnet?
like a hydrotane.
Would that
There's
other products? I mean, I'm using that as just a brand name.
Yeah.
Kleenex.
Yep.
That was actually something that I wanted to drop in a little bit is and I know
That's a good
Ryan
point.
and I talked about this a little bit earlier this week. Is that like let's all be honest, okay? Soil water holding capacity does not increase with surfactants, right?
No.
Right. So how do we increase soil water holding capacity?
Well, only one way is to put some sort of substance in the ground with the soil that will hold more water. So the easiest and the cheapest way to do that is add additional organic material, right? So every
Through the root
1%,
cycling effect.
every 1% of organic matter that we add will hold an additional 25,000 gallons of water per acre. Okay, so consider that. Now, that's good and bad. You live by the sword and you die by the sword, right? So what happens when you're hot and dry turns into hot and 75% humidity and it's raining every 22 hours? Maybe not as good, right? So,
yeah.
So it sounds
All
like
right,
my boy's
so-
got to get himself some irrigation to fix this issue.
yeah, I think this is a.
I mean,
this is
just get the
definitely a-
irrigation. There's the whole problem to this whole issue is if you had irrigation, you wouldn't have a problem because if it was hot
No,
and
I mean,
wet, you would just turn it down, and if it's hot and dry, you just turn it up.
right. But I also have to deal with the wife factor, you know,
Listen, just
turning
go,
that
just
water
go,
on
just
and she sees it go cha-ching and God, I mean, how do you deal with that? That's the ultimate
you're a
question.
doctor. You just say, look, I did 2 nose jobs. Who paid for the water for the
I
year?
don't think he's that. It's not that kind of. It doesn't work like that. Listen,
I know he's not.
I think this is a
but,
good
look,
topic. Go ahead. Go ahead.
hey, look, then you just let it dry out 1 year. You say, fine, we did it the cheap way. And then she'll say, well, why does it look like that? Well, we followed your plan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lushy, does your wife actually follow logic? She
We
actually
have
says,
divided.
"Oh,
We
okay,
have
this
divided.
is the evidence." And
No, hey,
in my house,
oh,
it's I'm wrong, she's right. The end.
this is the
No.
truth, and we have grubs, so she was right that time. So I can't actually fault her for that. So she doesn't give me crap about that. This is funny that she gives me crap about. So trust me, nothing's perfect.
I got to tell you, I mean, I sleep on the couch with the fancy pillows a lot. You know, to me.
It's nice there. I like it.
You don't get to take your good pillow out there. You got to sleep with those shitty, itchy, disgusting throw pillows that are 5,000 degrees before you even lay your head on them. So I get it. I understand it. But I'm gonna stop.
All right,
you
I'm
there
taking
because
so
I
much
wanna
of you
pick
guys'
up-
time.
No, I want to pick up on
I
this.
feel bad about
This
it.
guy
I appreciate
this
it.
guy's
though,
gonna be
guys.
back. He's gonna be back in less than a month.
Is he going to be a guest?
July 21st. July 21st, he's back. So
Start taking notes
if they
and
let
have
me.
questions.
If they let me.
No, take
In
notes
depth.
and ready for you. Be ready.
In depth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to shut it down, and we got to get out of here on this. We'll have a very short after show tonight. A little bit more on Sunday night. Hopefully, Matt's feeling a little bit better. It's also, we got to shut this down because tomorrow's Jay Pink's birthday and he can't cut me off. So everybody wish him happy birthday. We got to go. Love you all. Bye. See you on the next one.
Happy birthday,
After show
motherfucker.
link. After show link will be up in Dirty Deeds. If you don't know what that is, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, probably the better thing to do, go ahead and go on to www.patreon.com/Burn Return. Subscribe to us on there. Check us out for all the cool after show content. And we will see you all on the next one.
Remember, it costs less than a cup of coffee.
And gasoline.